let's start with a little warm up. Let me grab a knife. Do we have knives? Yes. Did you guys bring anything? How much? What do we got for weapons? Everybody got a knife? We need one knife for 2 people. One knife. Good. Now, here's what we're gonna do for a warm up. Okay? This person here with a knife, I like you up moving alive. So this person with a knife is gonna feed 3 feeds. 1 feed, stay right there. You're just gonna do that with your head. Yeah. You don't even need to touch it. You know, just whoop, that's it. Just wham, just a slice. You know, keep that hand out there so I don't cut off your finger. Just whoosh, that's it. Okay, swat it in. See what I'm doing? Just yeah, okay. So give you that. Just keep them alive. That's good. Okay? Now don't move. This next one.
Still, it's right there.
Swat through the stomach. Okay. Larry Hartzell and I used to sit up late at night and drink dark beer and watch 8mm films and figure out how is Bruce intercepting? How in the hell does he intercept? And we noticed he doesn't intercept a jab or a cross or a kick or a punch. He would intercept the human being who was encroaching on him. Okay? So when Bruce moved, watch my stomach, he did this when he got out of the way. So say we're sparring, and I just go, whew, breathe. Now you're like, look how far I am. What's he gonna do? When I'm that far away from him sparring and we're fighting, what do you think he's gonna do? He's gonna come in. It's like Frazier always coming in on Ali. I'm trying to come in to hit you, see? Okay? Well, when somebody comes in, that's when you intercept. So the move that we saw Bruce doing that he never wrote in any book or magazine, it was always slide backward, was this thing. This whoop, and your whole body punches. Okay? So, we get the head out of the way, the body out of the way. Good. And when you do that, kind of jump a little bit more range for me. There you go. And the leg. Just put your leg like that. Just get it out of the way. Try not to move your whole body. It's too slow. Give a sweat on my leg. See what I'm doing? Just take the leg out of the way. Yeah. Body. And head. Okay? Give it a try. I want to talk a little bit about JKD without getting into politics. The main thing with Jeet Kune Do is simple. Bruce Lee taught all of his students differently. Dan Inosanto moves different than Larry. Larry moved different than Ted Wong. Ted Wong moved different, and I could go on and on. And that's the theme of and that is the DNA of Jeet Kune Do. Okay, not the name, that. Okay, that personal thing. Bruce's ability to look at somebody and go, this is what you're going to do. The thing Inosanto had was this amazing ability because he was so athletic to move quickly. This is why Bruce loved Dan so much to train with. He ran a 100-yard dash in 9.3, and the indoor world record was 9.1 by Bob Hayes. You know, and I could go on about football and stuff. So Dan was this crazy athletic guy, and Bruce borrowed him. Okay. So Dan moves differently. Now, as Jeet Kune Do progresses, Bruce and Dan together as a team chose arts. They would say, oh, let's try Sing Ni, let's try Bagua, let's try, and they tried over 30, 40, 50 arts. Every time Bruce and Dan would pick an art together as a team, building Jeet Kune Do, what it is, okay, and it was built together with Dan. that would instigate them to move a little different. When they brought praying mantis into the game, this started happening. So now you see this high-low thing. That's what the mantis does. You didn't see that quite as much. So as they would bring arts in, they would move differently. The last art that they worked before Bruce died was Thai boxing. Do you ever see Bruce in any book doing a Thai kick? Have you ever seen Bruce in a Thai clinch doing this? No. Okay? Because he was just getting into it. According to Dan, he fell in love with Thai boxing more than his mother art of Wing Chun. But he felt that when you combine Wing Chun with the Thai boxing, you had this animal that was pretty crazy. And of course, poking the eyes and kicking the groin. Okay? Now, Bruce passes away. 26 months goes by. Dan, in his heart, says, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to keep this alive. He opens up the Filipino Kali Academy. This is in 1974. I came along in 76. Okay? When that academy opened up, it was just a big garage like this, only with a cement floor, and we eventually just painted it red. It was just tough guys kickboxing. The thing that we had was all the other schools said, oh, don't even go near that place. Oh my God, those guys. You walk in, they're bloody. It's just, they don't know anything about martial art. All they want to do. Okay. So that was the attitude. And we were doing kickboxing. And then we did our Wing Chun and everything else. Okay. Then Dan came along. Forgive me, it's going to take me 15 minutes, but I want you to get this. Then Dan came along, I'm doing this chronologically, and said, I'm going to bring in this cat named Chai. Because Bruce and I, that's when Dan told me, Bruce and I love Thai boxing so much, we were doing it so much, I just opened up the school. And these are the days people would walk in all the time, stand at the door and challenge. And we'd be like, glove up. Don't even say anything, just throw the gloves, okay? And he brought Chai from Thailand to America, okay? Now you got to picture the demographic of this school, okay? Me and one other guy were the two guys that were not Afro-American or Hispanic, and it was in a beautiful, rough part of town, and it was just a big garage. And most of the guys were from 25 to 35. Everybody was a great boxer. Two of the guys were heavyweight champions for Golden Gloves, okay? But we hit the ground all the time, we punched on the ground, it was this crazy street fighting thing. Here walks this 5'5" guy, 140 pounds, I'll never forget this. He puts on his gloves, and he jumps in and he starts sparring with us. And while I'm sparring over here, and he had this proclivity to hit twice on the thigh. It was like, okay? So while I'm sparring over here, I would hear, and every time I turned around, I'd see one of our guys dropping. And then I'd see that, and he was like this, what's that, Tasmanian devil of the cartoons? He was like this 5'4" bully going through these heavyweight street fighting guys like it was nothing. So our school got manifestly, just fell in love with Thai boxing. So now we're doing the Wing Chun, we're doing our straight boxing blast, we're trying to trap, but we're putting the Thai boxing in, okay? Then, we're up to 1983, we've been doing Thai boxing, he brought him in 1979, 4 years solid. Then I went off into the garage and I started training with this guy named Horian Gracie, okay? Nobody knew who he was. So when I started training with Horian, the first training match I did what I do with everybody. Can you spar? Yes. I would love to spar with you. I didn't like that smile. And he just clinched me and took me to the ground, and I felt like I'd been raped. I wanted to go home and take a shower. Oh God. And I went to Dan and I said, you gotta see this, you gotta see this. Stay off the ground, Paul, stay off the ground, it's no good. My uncle Evangelista did that shit, it's judo. So after about 6 months, I said, you got to see this. So I brought Hoyen and Hoist to the school, okay? And they sparred with everybody, on the ground. So it was tap, 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 tap. Okay? So now the school's in love with jiu-jitsu. Okay? So we're doing Thai boxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. If you were a fly on the wall, you would see in 1985, punching, kicking, Thai clinching, slamming, ground and pound, takedown, triangle choke, arm lock, foot. That sound familiar? Yeah. Okay, so we were doing MMA before MMA was doing MMA. We were doing jiu-jitsu before Hoist ever had his first fight. I was in Hoist's corner 8 years later, okay? And so my base in my Jeet Kune Do is jiu-jitsu and Thai boxing for Paul vunak. And I feel that is modern, a la MMA. So I've named this art contemporary, meaning modern Jeet Kune Do. Does this make sense? Yeah. So what we're going to do, and I apologize for all this talking, I promise this will not be one.
That was great.
Okay, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to show you how to equate all the stuff you already know to MMA. Okay, and then we'll talk about street fighting stuff and that. And then later we'll talk about my belt system and what. Okay, so with all that said, Pedro, can I borrow you?
Sir.
And a knife, please. All right, so pike out of the way. When I return this thing to here, it's gonna pop solid. You don't have to do it every time, just once in a while. The leg. Okay, so I'm being wide. Later it's gonna be a lot quicker, and he's gonna come in and he's gonna, and then when we get in here, we'll be doing all this. Oh, give us time to build. I want you to learn to trap without this. Okay, that's what I want. So you're gonna have a structure like this, and if you haven't got a structure like this, okay, oh, I have to trap that. I have to be able to go high and low and do my praying mantis thing. If he doesn't have a structure, you don't have to trap. Okay, so the first breaking into MMA is doing a simple pops out from movement, and I want to do it with a knife. If you do this and your hand is down, he has nothing to trap. So as a feeder, when you do this, you have to put the hand back up. Okay, let's give it a try, please. We have like a car, it's revving, okay? So while you're doing your moves, what you're always doing back here, intrinsically you know that what you're always working is you're breathing to not get tired. Getting tired in a fight is your enemy. The guy in front of you hasn't trained, and if he's a big bully, so what? It's what we do for a living, okay? But when I'm tired, I'm nobody, okay? And lack of endurance makes cowards of us all. Vince Lombardi. Okay, so keep that in mind. Always, we're gonna go a long day. You're gonna be tired. Don't wear yourself out. All right, so switch it around back and forth, and then we're gonna switch partners. squat, boom, get the thing out of the way, and then he comes in and he pops out. Okay, when this pops out occurs, we're gonna then kick into the U drill. Is there anybody that doesn't know this drill? Where it's kind of like an angle, and then I slice, and then I feed this. Has anybody not seen this? You can all do this. Okay, 2. I'll work with you guys. But if you notice, you'll say, what hand? It doesn't matter. Put that hand. Yeah. Okay, everybody says, don't do it this way, because I'll do this. Okay, well, I can do this. There's a million things I can do. Okay, so I'm not one of these people that's going to go, it has to be your left hand, and the palm has to be up. Okay, so we're here. So that's the drill. So when we're moving around here, boom, bam. And then when I do my thing, and then when he comes in, and then I'm just going to begin. You don't have to go fast. And then go back out again, move around. But if you notice, we're moving. We have footwork. We're connecting. If you ever see this, we work knife. Really. Okay? The craziest stuff I see is with a knife. I never put down other martial artists because I've done so much stupid shit in my days. Okay? But what I do now is put down a structure. It's like, God, don't do that. I wonder how many kids you're going to teach with a knife shot in to do something like this. You know, with a knife. And it looks good when the guy comes in like this. But when he comes at you like, and just starts flailing like a wild man, like a razor, you have no chance. Okay, so there's a strategy you use against that sort of man. Okay? All right, so let's get it up to this point. Nice and slow now. Okay, I'm going to let you go for a good 10 minutes. And let me get you to go. Okay, grab a new partner. To push me too much.
I know you said switch hands.
You can put your right hand behind your back. Now just use this hand. Hey guys, check this out. Watch. Right hand first. Woo. I guess this is left hand. Okay, switch hands. Sometimes as you're doing a U, make a pleat circle. Maybe go back. Just get him used to doing it. You're not going to defend a knife attack by jumping in and doing a U thing, okay? Imagine you're in the fuselage of an airplane. There's a box cutter, here it is, and it comes by you. You just get out of the way just for a brief second to go back and do something. So it's that minuscule movement that can save your life, and we're just repeating that nanosecond over and over in a drill form, okay? And we're making sure you get out of range and you have safety and you can breathe and keep a cool head. Here's my rule. I'm not recommending you do it. I'm just telling you what my rule is. Okay? I never listen to what they say. I've never listened to a teacher in my life. When Dan Osano is in class and he's doing some move, I will walk up to him and go, I don't know what that is, but I want to know what you did when we were in Aspen and that big dude came out of the alley and you did this thing. What the hell is this? He's like, oh, Jesus. Can't you just do the martial art moves? No, I want to do the shit you do when you're pissed off. Doesn't that make sense? All right, Paul. It's a straight black. Okay, so the moral to the story is this, okay? You look at your teachers and you see what they do. And when I watched Dan, and for the 9 years, hours a day, a week that we sparred, he never started with me in a line like this. He would just trap me when I was boxing. I would try to hit him and kick him, and next thing is, my hands were trapped and there's a blast coming in, a thigh kick. It was like this crazy Thai boxer doing Wing Chun, okay? Only doing this collie stuff too, okay? So same thing with Hickson, you know? I mean, Hickson will be in the middle of doing some collar choke. I don't want to do collar chokes, Hickson. What'd you do to that Japanese man that challenged you and he fish hooked your head? How'd you get out of the fish hook and come back around and come out the back? Oh, Jesus, well, you got to ask things like that, okay? So I've always picked and poked. And so what I'm giving you is not, it's what my teachers use, okay? Same thing with Bruce, okay? So now we're in this cue drill, and we're feeding. Hey, Barn Knife. Mullet. Grab my hand and give me a thumb and get me in a wrist lock with just that one. Just kind of go like that. Yeah. Is everybody seeing that? So he grabs the thumb. Yeah. So as I'm like this, when we get to this point right here, wrist lock. There you go. So to go back to the feed you were doing. And then when you want right here, boom. Got it? So that's the first part of a knife disarm, okay? So when we get to the knife disarm right here, then you just grab it, peel it out, and now you become the feeder. Yeah. And then you're doing stuff, boom, boom. You're feeding me, and then I grab it, and then I disarm, and then I feed. Oh, you'll live. Okay? You got it, boys? Let's do it. Things you do to me, it was like, you know, there's 8 things. I'm always put my shin, you take my knee, you straight blast me, and then you get me in this crazy thing, and you do this crazy shit to me, okay? If you only do these 8 things to me, why do we work so much stuff over here? Why don't we just work these 8 things? The 8 basic things, and why do we get super complicated? Because you said a knife is simple, Dan, and we're doing this crazy complicated shit. Okay? These are the questions I would ask him all the time. They weren't as subtle as most people would ask him. And he gave me this brilliant answer, this absolute, manifestly brilliant answer. He said, Bruce Lee, maybe Michael Jordan, maybe Deion Sanders. I can name a handful of the most gifted humans on the earth. God gave him the most gifts, okay? So he could pull stuff off that we couldn't pull. So in order for me to get my athleticism up to Bruce's, I can't just do a pop sow. If you just do simple stuff, a pop sow, a straight blast, a headbutt, a G-tech, okay? Okay, and that's all you do. Here's what happens in your life. You get as good as you're going to get at it, and then you just taper off, and you become complacent. Have you ever been as good as you're going to get at something and you don't seem like you're getting any better? Okay, so what Dan did was he would raise the level of athleticism that it takes to do these drills. He'd have us kicking each other, poking the eyes, kicking the balls, doing progressive indirect hand immobilization, compound traps. But when we spar, it was pretty simple shit. Do you understand that? Because when you train, you're training your attributes. But you don't have to spar doing that stuff. Okay? When I worked with the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know if any of you guys remember, you're too young, a guy named Tom Landry. What's that going on back there? Is that like a garage door? Oh, got it. Okay, so do you remember a guy named Tom Landry? Anybody? Yeah. Well, I was working with the Cowboys back then, and I said, hey, coach, come on, man. I'm doing Hoobud with Randy White and Ed Jones over here and teaching them to get to the line quicker. And it's like, I thought you guys were going to scrimmage. I haven't seen you guys. I thought I was going to get to watch you guys play a little bit on the side. And Tom Landry puts his arm around me and he says, hey, kid, they already know how to play football. I'm trying to make them better athletes. And he's got a 6-foot guy up on a ballet bar. He's got me doing complicated Hoobud with Randy White. So brilliant coaches push you beyond the techniques you would normally do in a training methodology that taps your attributes. And you're so athletic doing this stuff that when you go back to the simple stuff, you can pull it off against big guys, not just guys your size. Okay? God, that's... Okay, Pedro and Ben, come on out, buddy. So this is what I want you guys to do, just a little demo, and then you're going to do the same thing. All we're doing is sparring. Whoever gets cut, then the other guy feeds. Okay? So watch how it rolls out. Set and go. Back out now. Beautiful. Okay, let's do it again. Grab the knife one more time. Okay, so we're going to spar. Ready, set, and spar. Now he gets cut. Now he feeds. Don't take the knife yet. Keep feeding. Do not take the knife yet. Keep feeding, just so we can show them a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now take the knife. Now he feeds. And now he comes in and traps, and you see how it goes? So we're going in and out, taking the knife, switching, and letting the other guy go. Sometimes the knife will fall, sometimes you'll have 2 knives, sometimes you'll be in a screw up. Never stop. Flow. Okay? Let's do it.
You want to stop 2 knives?
Pardon me? Yeah, you're sparring. For a little bit. Okay, so let me throw out a few. Anything you're having trouble with training? Anything that you would like me to help you improve? Any issues that you've had in sparring, jiu-jitsu or otherwise, that kickboxing that aren't working for you? You know, these are the things that we can talk about throughout the seminar. So just kind of mull over this stuff. Okay, Pedro. Por favor. Now we find ourselves in MMA They're here, but they're always wanting to get this. And they're always wanting to get to the ground. The body and the trunk is everything to a grappler, okay? So when he's going for this, okay, I want to get in. I don't want that to happen. So we get into this thing, and it's been perverted into something that's non-functional. If you see this occurring, watch. I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm not even thinking that's not even a good warm-up. But I see MMA guys do that all the time. Okay? What it is, tight, go for me. Oh shit. Now when I feel this tight, I gotta squeeze my little finger in there and wiggle it to get it down. And now I want this like it. Now he's not. Now freeze. And when we're in this dynamic of a fight, that's when I bite the ear. That's when I need the balls. And the dynamic of the fight, you have to have your base. You have to know this clinch drill. And then the litany of things that I'm going to teach you out of this drill that are what we call asymmetrical, made for the military. If a guy's got his finger on the button, children are about to be blown up, we don't have time for compassion. Military, my mission for SEAL Team 6 for 4 years was to neutralize the adversary with extreme prejudice. Okay? So, arm locks and chokes. You know, I taught jiu-jitsu to SEAL Team 6 just so they wouldn't go to the ground. I taught them basic shit so they stay the hell out. Now the kids are jumping on the ground right now doing straight jiu-jitsu. Okay? But anyway, that's another point. I digress. So what these guys are going to do is the pummel. And then, of course, we're going to mix the pummel with the knife. Okay? So watch. Just struggle. Yeah. Fight it, fight down, now freeze now. Now you fight your way in to get it. And don't let him have it. And now you get your other arm in. There you go. There you go, get that on. There you go. Okay, so let's do that, boys. Just slow. It shouldn't look fast. It shouldn't look pretty. It should look like a little struggle in there. If you're having any trouble, throw up a flipper, we'll get to you. Everything that we consider, can we turn that down? Everything that we consider asymmetrical, which is poking the eyes, kicking the balls, biting. There's a whole martial art on the ground called kinabutai, and they have a myriad ways to go ahead and do really nasty things to people. Okay? And when you mix that kinabutai with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you do these bites and eye gouges out of the postures of Jiu-Jitsu, you have an animal that's unbeatable on the ground, okay, for a street fight. And then that same asymmetrical stuff, because remember this, in 1983, I was, rolling around on the ground. Hoist gave me my blue belt in 86, okay? And by about 88, maybe I was a purple belt, okay? I worked real hard. And Hoist and Hoyer and Hoyler, they'd all, come on over for barbecue, and I always knew what that meant. And I'd come over for barbecue, and it always ends up a match on the ground. And when you're with some uncle, and he's like 68 years old, and you go, oh, meet my Uncle Gujuji, and I go like this, he goes, and it's like, God, these guys. And it was just barbecue after barbecue, rape after rape. And it's like, I'm 28 years old, I was 180 pounds. Working jiu-jitsu 4 hours a day. And some uncle, 65, 68 years old, just takes me on the ground and just... So it dawned on me, you know, no matter, this reminds me of kickboxing, Dan. I said, you get your kickboxing as good as you can, but no matter how good you get your kickboxing, there's always somebody around the corner that can beat you in kickboxing. And it's the same shit with this art. And Dan says to me, well, how do you beat it standing up? How have I taught you to beat the guy better than you at the best art we have? And see, if he does Thai boxing and if you do Thai boxing, how do you beat him then? I go, well, we poke the eyes and kick the balls. And he goes like this. And then I'm thinking, oh, you mean on the ground bite? Okay, and that was the beginning of Kinamutai. Me whining to him that I got raped again by some 70-year-old man. I'm never going to be good at this shit. I've been working 4 hours a day. He goes through the same thing. So the moral to the story is, if you're not doing Thai boxing, you're going to have a tough time. End of conversation. You can't piss in the tall grass with the big dogs. You don't know how to take that thigh kick, eat that jab, and deal with this Thai clinch. You just can't even get in with them. So if you do Thai boxing, then you ask yourself, well, what if I meet someone who also does it? Who's bigger, stronger, younger, faster, better? So the answer is cheat. So you do the best art you can do standing up, and we mix Wing Chun with our Thai boxing and Kali and other things, of course, okay? And then you cheat. So imagine a Thai boxer is bam, bam, poking the eyes, blasting, headbutting, thumb in the eyes, you're in Thai clinch, he's biting off the nose, okay? But poking the eyes, biting the nose, biting the ears, kicking and going, all that, and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee if you don't know how to kickbox or Thai box or do jiu-jitsu. Because no fancy poking the eyes and that kind of stuff will work unless you have a base. And that base should be good. You should be a semi-pro Thai boxer that can straight blast like a mother. And then you poke the eyes, kick the balls, and do your Wing Chun trapping. And when you hit the ground, you should at least be a purple belt who knows all the bites from every position. Then you will be a monster. And then you can play around with, hey, I'll look into Suling Poo and teaching me and fooling you, and I'll throw this in my art. I'll sprinkle a little spaghetti. That's all cool. But get this stuff first, okay? All right, so we're going to do our knife. We go to the U-drill. When the last guy throws down the knife, begin the Thai clinch. I mean the body pummel. Okay? Would you guys demonstrate for me your noise? I promoted you. Or I should say demoted you. I heard her lip sync. So I assume you're not his wife.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ready, set, and go. You disarm and pummel. Now grab your knife and spar. Fight your way through it. Keep going. Good. And break. Beautiful. Okay? So that's how we roll. Okay, notice what we're doing. We keep adding in the Lego set. We mix in Philippines, Wing Chun. I mean, we're all over the globe. Okay, let's get that far, please. Now, let's slow it down when we get to the tie clinch. Okay? So we're in the clinch. Body pummel, excuse me. So remember, he's here. Go out just for a second with that right. Pull that right back out. That's your left. Pull your right out. There you go. Okay. Now he's here and this arm's already in. This is called an underhook. I know that if he gets that second underhook in, I am screwed. Well, I'm really not. Because when he does that, look that way. Okay, go that way. Go. I just go here. So in other words, when I'm in here, if he gets under, as soon as he gets under, I go right to the body. Okay? So if that does happen to you, okay, or say I'm in a tie clinch with him here and I'm moving around and I'm doing this, and he gets the body, I go right for the body. So I remove the ear before he's closed the body to even take me down. And when you're here and your ear's, well, being removed, okay, the guy does it here, and then you just open up with your follow-up. That's asymmetrical, okay? In wartime, in military, if you wound somebody, that's worth 4 people, or 3 people at least, because it's a medic and 2 people to carry him, okay? So the strategy is sometimes they want me to show people for wounding. Sometimes they want us to show, to just make sure he's dead. Sometimes, okay, so it just depends on the situation. When I first got there, they had an admiral. What they needed to do was kidnap one of our admirals, SEAL Team 6. They were going to come to Coronado Base and kidnap an admiral. And I go, and you want me to help you kidnap our admiral? Yes. Okay. And they had this whole elite thing to do, testing our, okay. And when they got to him at the desk, they needed to carry this guy. And by the way, he was overweight. And they needed to carry, and old, and they needed to carry him out the door to kidnap him. When you're doing these war games, you're not allowed to drug them. You're not allowed to do anything you would normally do. So it's caveated with a lot of, okay. So they hired this Aikido guy. And this is while I'm training him. And I'm going, really? Cool. Well, I could help you with that. And they all laugh. We go, no, we don't want him hurt, vunak. We don't want you to have anything to do with this project. I said, no. I teach cops, guys. Okay, and then no, we'll do it our way. So I watched them. And the guy that pretended like he was an admiral is at this fake desk. And they push out the chair and they're getting him up and they're trying to grab him and they're trying to do shit. And the guy goes, grab him. He goes, what the fuck are you doing? Hey, security. And they spent all this time and energy learning these locks. I go, why don't we do it differently? So now you're the admiral. I walked in. I walked behind him, put him to sleep, and threw him over my shoulder. Okay? So you have to understand that in SEAL Team 6 training, we're not just about hurting people. Okay? We can help people. We can get you to the ground and take you, if we want to take you away, handcuff you. So there's a whole litany of things that they require. Okay? One of the main things is when they come in with lice, all the people scatter to the wall. And one of the silliest things they wanted us to do, let's say you're behind a wall, okay, was to get them off the wall and get them on the ground, and nobody speaks English. So we come in behind it, we go, boom, with a phone, boom, boom, and I'm taking them, and we need the phone, and we can get them off the wall. So Bruce Lee's art is applicable to anything, okay? All right, so I'm done talking. We're going to go 20 minutes with a workout. You know what you're doing? Get straight to the pummel. When we're on the pummel, this is the technique. Grab this and hook it. That's all I want you to do. Get this here, and this is called a seatbelt. And I just want you to be in a seatbelt. Just get in this seatbelt, and then come back to here, and go back to your pummel. Hold it to here, go back to here, go back to the pummel. Just so you get used to doing that. It's an arm drag. I'm tight. As soon as I drag it here, this is here. And if I flare this elbow and headbutt, I can remove the air from this position. So there's a reason why we like a seatbelt over this, bend more. Now I have a different thing I have to do. Because he's going to base out here, and I don't have the ear to bite. Okay, let's get that far, please. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about grapplers and their proclivities and what they tend to do, and if they're big and fat and skinny or whatever. Because the heavier guys, shorter guys have a different pummel. Longer ectomorphic guys have a different pummel. Let's see. Okay, so I'll tell you about a fight I lost with a wrestler about that big in a basketball court once. Remind me to tell you about this. Most of the time, when you're in this pummel situation here, okay, your goal is, our goal is to bite the ear. So if my face is looking this way, look how far I got. So I see everybody, I see everybody bird watching. Oh, pretty girl. Okay, no, okay, no bird watching. So don't you do it, you just do normal. Okay, please. See how I go in? See how I go in? That way I'm ready to remove this. Now some guys are so big you don't have their ear, and some guys are so small they got the head right here. Usually big guys aren't going to drop their head down in here because they're worried about this knee coming up, okay? But little guys don't worry about that shit. And then they press their body up, and then they're like this, okay? So that's a different pummeling guy, okay? When that happens, this hand has to go and reach around to take the opposite eyeball. So as we're pummeling here, if you could give me that one, you kind of put your head in my chest. Yeah, and keep this pummel nice and tight. And okay, not under, yeah. This kind of guy. And pummel, yeah, pummel. This one, yeah. Now watch. See where the eye is? Rip. Pummel, pummel, rip. Now if he gets it, now freeze. See this? This is automatic checkmate. Oh, you okay? Yeah, fine. Okay? So you gotta keep your head up. But good wrestlers, they won't just put the head in the chest like this. Let me do it, okay? They won't just do this. They do this. They go, see, if this knee is there, they'll go more, so they'll go more here. And it's still up there, okay? So when you got this, boom. Now I'll do it to you and then you do it, okay? And reach around, that's it. I go here, okay? The nanosecond you touch the eyeball, that's not your goal. That's a button. Bing! Let go. So when he's here, and I go here, boom! It's always that. 1, 2, 1, 2. Always take it back up in the groin. Okay? You with me? So we. And then see how we take behind you. Okay, now. And if that's too low, if I see that, checkmate. And if I get here, boom, boom. You'd think this would work. I've tried it. This is to, you want to scratch. You don't gouge it out. You can't press an eyeball and gouge it out. That's ridiculous. When you put a thumb in an eye, you scratch. can push until the sun comes up. Physiologically, nothing's going to happen. He'll get dizzy. He'll shut his eye real hard. He'll open his eye and be fine. But if you just touch and you roll and scrape. So when we roll, we have glasses on. One of those glasses has white out. And when he and I are done rolling, if I've scratched all of his out, I win. If he scratched mine out, he won. I will have a mouthpiece in. When we're rolling, if he's got my ear with a mouthpiece, nah, didn't work. Gotta tap. So you tap just like if he's attacking your arm. You defend it. But if he gets it, you gotta tap. Until you try your asymmetrical violence on a resisting opponent who's trying to hurt you, you don't know it. You can't just have techniques. I'll do jitsu and I have a video of the 27 bites. And now that I know these bites, during magic, with my genie and my pixie dust, during the fight, I'll be able to make those bites work out of that fight. But I've never really done it. Sparring, okay? Which is ridiculous. And this is the paradigm shift we're all gonna have. Okay? So I digressed a little bit. So we're in the pummel, we do the underhook, bam. Underhook, bam. If he's here, same thing. If he's normal, okay, I always go here, and I go for my underhook, I go here, we go back to here. And when I go here, remember this. If I don't raise this elbow and I go for this bite, get your head out of the way. This crap's gonna happen, okay? And I don't want him to know I'm biting. So when I get here, boom, I'm lifted. As this lifts at the apex, bam, I'm headbutting, rolling up to find the ear. All right, give it a try. Did you ever watch the Ken Shamrock Chemo fight? Yes. I think it was them. This was, hang on guys. Okay, I think it was them. Okay, come here for just a second, please. Okay, they're out here moving around or something. I don't remember which one did it, and they went in like this or something. You tie clenched me, and he just did this. He put his head down. It's like, when you do this, and someone grabs you, or if you go to get them here, and you end up here, bring your knee straight up. Yeah, this knee, even this close to a Thai boxer, put your head way back and hard. Yeah, that's the feeling. Grab my neck. This is what a Chai used to say to me. He goes, I touched the back of your neck. You should be like Venus flytrap. I go, what? Venus flytrap. You touch the hair? And I'm like, okay, Venus flytrap. Why not? I like to tuck my chin. Oh, good. You tuck your chin. And as soon as I did, this knee went straight up his body. My body and hit. To a Thai boxer, if you do this, checkmate, checkmate. Okay? So you do this. You pull that sucker back. Okay? Questions on that? That's the only thing I wanted to say. If I see you doing something that makes me nervous, I gotta check it off so you don't do it again. Okay? Continue, please. Time out! When we get here,
We're gonna go to pummel.
and the seatbelt is on, okay? When you are the recipient of the seatbelt, okay, time out guys. Time out, just 1 second. Okay, so when you are the recipient of the seatbelt, don't wait for it. Well, he's not gonna bite your ear, only if you do that. But don't wait for it. He's gonna probably throw his hooks in. Okay, so when you see him going to your back, do that to me and go to the back. And this occurs, okay? He's not gonna choke you out, Mary, because you get this artery. Before this gets to here, I don't want you to then have to go and bite. It's too slow, it's too long. He can pick you up and throw you when you're in the process of the bite. So timing is everything. You screw up a bite and go, oh, bites don't work. It's like a guy that throws a cross and he gets intercepted by a thigh kick and go, crosses don't work. Okay, it's just that same deal. So watch what I do. He goes to my back. I start to bite. He pulls out, goes to the bottom. I weight down, whack, and I hit the balls. And I come back here. If you wait when he gets to the bottom, pick me up and slam me. Whoop, bam. Okay? Now, if you're vertical, it's a lot easier too. Pick me up and slam me. It's a lot harder this way. So when I'm down there, whack, that's what I do. So as soon as he gets this, as soon as you go, oh, drop. And see how he has this in front to protect his groin? Oh, you can't protect that little thing from me. Okay, ready, boys? Let's do it. The poke in the eye, okay, or you're on this and he bites you, and then you go here and you're here. Whichever way, go to the tie clinch then, okay? Now, the body pummel is, he's got my body, and I want to get inside. I want to be the guy inside, and I want to be the guy so I get his body. So that pummel thing is, he starts to put a hand in, and then I get one in. Okay, so we're always fighting our hands to get down, down, down. The tie clinch is up. It's the same thing. So if he has me here, I put my head here to prevent anything nasty from happening to me. Okay, now, because see where my hands are. Okay, now I want my hands, here's what I want. Stay here for a minute. I want to be here. If I'm here and he's here, I win. Move me around. I have the inside game. I am in control. Okay, so he don't want that, so he gets one up. And now he's in. It's like, oh shit, I don't want this. So the same struggle to go up, to go down with the tie is up. I go in. But when I go in, focus out of that. Wing chun. Move in. Yeah! Don't just let me in when I go here. Now go under with that right one. I'm focused out. Focus out. Yeah, we're fighting our way to get to the top. It's a fight. He's trying to get in, and now he's got, oh shit. And now we go down. Come on. Now I want to go down. We're fighting, so there should always be a struggle. And in between the struggle, all the fun stuff happens. So add the tie clinch fight to go to the,
After the groin shot. Shot.
Yeah, after you do that, or whatever combination you're doing, just kick right into the tie clinch. So we go from knife there. Well, you know what you do. Start from the beginning.
I'm Jake.
So that's what I really like.
But if you want to get a hand in it, you're going to try and get it in, right? And all I'm going to do is just keep squeezing this, right? And moving it.
Hey, big man, let me borrow you. Okay, now, remember I said everybody's dynamic is different. You can't make a blunt statement. So when you're doing, some grapplers, they put their head here because they're small guys. Okay? Little bowling ball guys with no neck. I hate fighting those kind of guys. I have a poor record with those little fucks. Sorry. Okay? But when you get a big guy, his head won't be here, but you might, not quite big enough, but you might not be able to reach the ear for all any, or the eyes or any of the good stuff. Okay? So let's say we're just doing the tie clinch. Boom, and we're doing this. See how he keeps his head down. Boom, checkmate. There you go. And when he has his head back, boom, checkmate. Okay. So we're doing this, okay? Now, as we do the tie, the tie movement here, if you go for the body, okay, and you go for the body clinch, yeah. See, this kind of gets him here. Now watch where I am. If I go for the body here, or if I go for my seat belt, I got nothing. Okay? Ooh, it's worse. I'd rather be bitten in the nose than have this bitten off. The pain is remarkable. I was jumping over a barbed wire fence, and I was 12 years old, and I leapt it, and my nipple got caught, and there's no way to describe it. I was in a bar shooting pool one time. Big fat guy got me in a headlock, and I bit his nipple. He screamed. He did that thing I've always heard: E flat, F minor. Okay, and then his whole T-shirt gets red because it's so vascular. His white T-shirt was red. Okay, now you don't go around doing that in a regular fight. Okay, it's manifestly stupid. It'd be like carrying a gun, because we all carry guns, and you get cut off in a car. Oh man, what did you do? You turned left, stupid, you didn't put your signal on. Really? Pop, pop, fucker. Okay? You would never do that. You would bite him? I'd rather be shot than bitten, I'll tell you that now. If someone knows how to bite. Someone that knows Kinamatai, I'd much rather just give me the bullet. Okay? So Kinamatai is your gun. That's not how we fight. If you can't win a fight by standing up or doing your jiu-jitsu, take up the piano, okay? You guys should be good enough. But if his big brother comes into the scene, 300 pounds, on meth, breaks into your house with his friend, and one of them grabs one of your children, rent the movie Law Abiding Citizen. And that's why we do Kinamatai. Everybody told me, you cannot teach this violence to pedestrians. SEAL Team 6 said, oh, how are you going to do that? And he goes, oh. I said, we're the ones that need it. What if something terrible happens? You can't tell me I'm not going to teach this to my friends around the world, the shit I teach you guys. Okay? I have to. I have to caveat it by saying, you don't do this if somebody cuts you off in traffic. I shouldn't even have to. But when people see something on the internet and they'll see me passing the guard, gouging an eye and biting the face, and they see a 10-second clip, I don't blame them. Who the fuck? What is this guy? Is he a nut? Okay? The biting is to defend our family. We're doing it out of a sport-like atmosphere of MMA because these are the guys that are fighters nowadays. If Jeet Kune Do doesn't equate themselves to the best, always, and keep up, we will fall behind. Okay? And when you mix and conflate Jeet Kune Do with MMA, That doesn't mean you do Jeet Kune Do and then you do MMA. That's not the way you do it. For all the people in the 2000s that were ahead of the game because they were jumping in at MMA, that's cool. But unless you're using Jeet Kune Do to beat MMA, a la biting, eye gouging, asymmetrical violence, eyes, balls, then you're not doing it right. You're just adding the whole art in, and that's not what Bruce did. He said, I want to add what's functional, and I want to make sure I can beat it. If it's kickboxing or Thai boxing, okay? So you're gonna have to forgive me on some of these long talks, but God, I never listen to the internet, but sometimes I get up there and it's like, people are still arguing what art is better, original Jeet Kune Do or Jeet Kune Do concepts. It's like this 30-year argument, my God. A human being wins a fight from their heart. A human being wins I would never say a Jeet Kune Do concepts person is better than an original, because they know more. That is the most pompous, pious statement you could make. I have 100 original friends all over the world. I have 100 Jeet Kune Do concepts friends. If I picked the original against the concepts, most of my original friends are good old boys from down south. Milking cows, been in street fights. Most of my concepts contemporaries that everyone thinks I'm Mr. Concepts, okay? These are rich kids from California that drive a Porsche and come up to my academy. You think I think because they're doing better technology, they're gonna beat my original friends? I don't think so. So even though the technology might be a little higher, the human beings I've met in original Jeet Kune Do are better fighters, okay? But it's a moot point, because we're all one. Those are our cousins. Original shouldn't be arguing with the concepts, and now I have contemporary JKD. This is my thing. And that is adding Jeet Kune Do to MMA, okay? We're not gonna say that ours is better than concepts. They're our cousins. I wish that us, concepts, and original would all get together and figure out how we can do what Krav Maga is doing. We're on the same family. If you don't agree with what I do, so disagree with me. Don't make it your friggin' raison d'etre for the rest of your life to run around profit. It's not a religion, okay? So if you disagree with a concepts person or an original person, I respectfully disagree, but we're cousins. Now these Krav Maga dudes, are they moving in? Yeah, all right, let's talk about this shit. You know what I mean? That's where my heart is at. Okay, everybody, we're gonna break for lunch. We will be back here in 1 hour. I'm giving you a mission. What?
In a fight.
That was the 80s. That was the 80s, okay? We've progressed since then. Please write down some questions.
Some questions?
Yeah, not enough questions. You guys move great. Everything I do, you do great. But you're not asking me no questions. My eyes should be twitching when I leave here, the way I do Dan. When he sees my name, what? How many? 4 in the morning, we'd be in motel rooms. Wake up. There's a new center line. Oh, okay. Make my eye twitch. Have a nice lunch. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'd like to check out your body mechanics, have you moving with the stick before we integrate it to the other stuff. So the 2 drills that I absolutely adore to get you moving and twisting to help your mechanics for anything is an upward figure 8 and an abanico. So we're just gonna go this. So 1, 2, see how we both twist? We're great mechanics. Big guys don't usually twist that way. See it? And the twisting can be for anything. It can be for literally anything you're doing. When you put the mechanics, you're gonna hit somebody and hurt them. Just punch like this or not. So let's do 3 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's give it a try, please. Questions about stick tournaments, and I've had some questions about like Dog Brothers stuff. Anybody know these people? Anybody know stick tournaments? You've seen stick tournaments? I won't need to personally get these to them.
Okay. I'm like Forrest Gump. I was there. You know, Dog Brother. 1970s. It was like 1976. Leo Gahi came to our school, and he came with two big guys, Eric Noss and another fella I don't know. And Leo came to make Dan Inosanto a master in his art. He presented a mastership, and they were going to do a demonstration stick fighting. And we already stick fight. We already did it full contact. We pretty much did what they do. It wasn't that dissimilar. Okay. So Eric got in and he sparred, and he was Leo's best guy, and he did great. I thought he was a wonderful fighter. And not only that, he was a really, really great human being, Eric. And he and I got to know each other and became close friends. And I was teaching class, and he was in my class. He was a student of mine. And he would glove up regularly, not being his forte, per se, and get in and just take punches to the face. Just a good, clean, smart, I don't know, just a good kid, Eric. And like I say, he was one of the best stick fighters. He was the second best stick fighter in our school behind a guy named Teddy Lucan. Okay? And then about 5 years later, I had a student that come to me. His name is Mark Denny. And Mark is an attorney from New York. And Mark didn't have a proclivity for martial arts per se, so his thing was the stick. It was like, this is the best thing you do. Let's work this with you. So I got his stick as good as I could get it. And then I introduced Mark to Eric. Okay? And they became friends. And then Mark said to me, you know, I want to do something with the weapons. I want to do something like you did with PFS. And I said, come up with your own name. Do something with Eric. He's the best in the world. Do something with him, and you and him do something. So they came to me and said, Mark did, and he goes, Dog Brothers, what do you think of that name? And I go, sounds fun to me. What's the brother part? I love dogs. Well, you know, dogs are loyal. And I said, bitchin', Dog Brothers, high five, okay? And they got on the internet and did their stuff, okay? What the Dog Brothers do is precisely what every stick tournament does. It's indistinguishable, okay? Everybody puts helmets on. This is what was protocol, okay? I've done this for 30 years. I love to fight with rattan sticks. We call them toys. It's like doing sabat sparring and kicking high. But a rattan stick is not a stick. It's a training stick. In the Philippines, they go full contact without equipment with rattan. So when you play stick fighting with a training stick, what you have to really do to get any power from that thing, you know, and you're wailing like and that's why you see combat with weapons is so prolific with rattan. The real Filipino masters that did Kali, it went from Kali to Eskrima to Arnis. I'm digressing. The real masters that did Kali is the blade, okay? So when you're sparring with a blade, or if you're sparring with a real weapon, a pipe, a crowbar, I don't mean sparring, fighting, okay? You can't trade. That's the one thing you have to know about weapon sparring. If you have a weapon in your hand in which you're trading, it's a sport. If you hit me and I hit you, and you hit me and I hit you, and I hit you 3 more times, and the judge goes, 7, 4, winner. Okay? What's the, in shooting a gun, I might shoot at you 20 times, you might shoot at me 13 times. What bullet is the most important one? Huh? Yeah, the first bullet. When my brains are scattered on the wall, the other 14 are moved. Okay? So if you're sparring with a weapon and you assume you can't trade with it, there's only one thing you can do. Defend. Exactly. Okay? So the Dog Brothers, you know, are really cool. But like I said, Eric Noss is a great guy, and I've known him for 30 years. Mark Denny, you know, he's an attorney. Jewish guy. He pretends like he's real Jewish, really very religious, you know, and like a Street Fighter 2. I just like, I suck at so many things. I just go, hey, I suck at this. Oh no, I suck at that too. I appreciate people that are that way, you know. Mark Denny, he's not a religious Jewish person. He's just a guy, and he's not a fighter. Okay. He was my business partner. We made our first video together. So I know Mark intimately, and for $50 he'd kill his rabbi with a pork chop. So I don't think he's gonna. He's not the guy that's going to. I don't like him. Okay, and Eric Noss is a beautiful person, and I love him very much. Okay, and the hundreds of dog fighters and dog brothers over the years, love them all. They're all friends of mine. Okay, so I don't have any disdain against anybody in that world, and a lot of people think I do. It was just Mark and I. You know, we just had a little thing together. So the thing about weapons is, if we cannot trade and we can only defang, okay, then everything you do has to be based on defanging. Okay, so let's spar for a moment. I can grab this and grab that. Let's just move around. Okay, so now, as soon as somebody grabs a weapon and they get in a stance, the first thing is, look at, is their hand close enough to hit? Because 99 out of 100 people, they get into that range already. Okay? If I'm in, I've been in lots of altercations with weapons in bars. And if they're not broken bottles, they were crowbars. Okay? I've never been in a real knife fight, but I've been in 150 broken bottle fights, and it's the same thing. Okay? And when he breaks a bottle or he has a tire iron in his hand, and I grab something, the first thing I do is my heart starts to go. If you see a big Samoan grabbing a bottle and coming at you, what are you going to do? Oh, fuck. And you breathe. Nobody tells you this. Oh, and now I grab a weapon. Now let's fight. This ain't occurring. If I grab a weapon, okay, let's fight. And boom, when you come into me, I'm going to hit you. But I'm always getting out of the range. Why? If I approach to where let's fight, freeze. And if you hit my hand, you win. I hit your hand, I win. Okay? What if you go to hit me, and I go to hit your hand, but I miss? We're in a range where you can hit me. So the main thing about defanging is you don't want to be in range where the stick can hit you. Okay? So always I'll feed you. Keep going way out. And hit me, yeah, way out, even further. Oh, yeah. So he is the guy always backing up. Just like I told you earlier, Bruce Lee would always be the guy backing up, and then this person would encroach, boom, and then Bruce would intercept. When I spar with Dan, he'd grab a stick, I'd grab a stick, and he'd start from here. I'm like, ow, what the fuck? You know, and because, sorry. Okay, but every time I come in, he would whack me. So he intercepted me with a stick, thousands of times over 30 years, whacking me in the hand, or whacking me in the head. The same way he would intercept me, sparring. So if I had something to give you, if I had one thing to give you about weapons fighting, please don't listen to most of the stuff people tell you. When I hear somebody with a weapon in their hand, and here's the dialogue I hear. This lexicon makes me, wow. The angle coming at the number 1 is at 32 degrees, and we bypass this to 0 pressure, implementing a male triangle, transgressing to a female triangle. Excuse me? I asked Dan, what is a male triangle? Why are we, this shit's freaking driving me nuts. Now you're confusing geometry with biology? Where's its, you know, and I said, where's its, and Dan goes, no, that's not what we mean by male. Okay, so at the end of the day, when you get into this crazy, now if somebody says this to you, well, here's how Larry would talk, Hartzell. I've been in lots of bar fights with weapons, and I think it's really smart to put your back to the wall. And just like in Nam, man, you can get a little scared. So you got to take a deep breath. And then when he comes in, just hit him in the hand. Now that's how to talk. That's Larry Hartzell talking, telling you how to fight. If you listen behind the scenes, you're Larry Hartzell 2 terms in Vietnam, and you said breathe first because you get scared with a stick or a weapon in your hand. I'm gonna listen to you. You put your back on the wall. You grab your weapon. This guy grabs his weapon. Breathe. Your heart's gonna be pounding. If it isn't pounding, you're stupid. He's got a tire iron in his hand. You've got a crowbar. He's got a broken bottle. This thing is gonna be in your face. He's a biker. These are mean people. This is not 2 librarians arguing over the Dewey Decimal System. This is friggin' mean people bent on your destruction, drunk, okay? So you breathe and you relax and you put your back to the wall and you look where the exit is. And the whole thing you're doing is just trying not to freak out. I'd love to tell you guys, oh, if you could see the fights we had and picture me in the bar and, you know, and it looked like Rambo and we were doing this and I remember a triangle lock, and it's just not like that. It's all about just trying to stay calm and cool. And you know you have a nanosecond to be real ruthless. So you just wait until the timing's right, and then when you go in, it has to be a madman on PCP. And then you get out when the timing is right. It's like you don't just hold the gun and go brrr, until the barrel melts. You go brrr, 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 3-shot burst. I've never shot a gun in my life. I don't know shit about guns. Somebody told me that, by the way. Just thought I'd present that fact to you. I just figured out recently that if you stick your finger in the barrel, it will not blow up the other guy like in the cartoon. Okay. But at the end of the day, no matter if it's guns or weapons or knife, okay, you breathe, you relax, and you defang. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do your upward figure 8s. Do your abanicos. And then get out and spar. And when you're sparring, just keep loose, and then maybe you can beat a little something, whack, yeah, whack. Play around, and then get back in, and do your upward figure 8. This is drilling. What are we working when we do this? Body mechanics. What are we working on here? Real combat. Conflating self-perfection drill with a self-preservation drill. Okay, guys? Let's give it a try, please. I want my 2 favorite people here. And I'll get you second. We're going to do a bunch of demos. Okay? He's next. Spread out a little bit. Okay, so all I want you to do is this, then drop it. Then pull out your knife and do everything we had all the way up to the seatbelt. Hang on a minute. Okay, ready? And go. Yeah, spar first, and then make it real obvious that you're coming in. Stay out and spar a little bit. See how nothing's happening? They're playing and waiting and juking and jockeying and feeling and faking, and they have footwork and their distance is far apart. This is what a stick fight should look like. Now break in and do your drill. Yeah. Good. Drop the weapon, grab your knife. Spar. And whoever gets cut, you are the person that goes into it. See how he waits to get in? Then he comes in, that's her turn.
And we're pok-sawing our way in to learn how to pok-saw from long range. Beautiful pok-saw. Disarm that. Body pummel. Take your time. Go slow. Good. Do an arm drag. Boom. Seatbelt. Spear bite. Go back to the bottom now. Bite her. Yep. Good. Headbutt and separate. Okay. Break. Now. Beautiful job. They ended up doing this. Bam. If you had done this, then you would bite that, and then I would go to here, and then you bend over, and then from that she gives me the slap. Okay? So whichever one you choose to get into, I don't care. It's not a kata. What I want you to learn to do is to flow from thing to thing to thing to thing. Dan and I flew all over the world. And I was a dummy, and I watched him literally educate the planet Earth. And in the 70s, everybody wanted Wing Chun. So the hundreds of schools we went to had wooden dummies. Can you turn that music off for me? Okay? Then in the 80s, things became eclectic. This was the big cocaine money. Everybody was opening up big schools everywhere. It was crazy times, crazy decade. Okay? You would see like the Fred Degerberg School. Okay? It was a city block. One city block. And so that was the thing in the 80s, is to have gigantic academies. I'm just giving you the history along with it. And typically in the 80s, with these big academies, you would have people, they would jump from wooden dummy, and then they would go, okay, let's mat the whole place and do jiu-jitsu. And then from jiu-jitsu, they would say, okay, let's take down the jiu-jitsu, and now we'll do weapons. So from the 80s to the 85 to the 90s, it jumped from one thing to another, okay? The in thing was weapons, so everybody did weapons. And then Dan's like, these guys got to learn jiu-jitsu, Paul. No one knows jiu-jitsu. Then everybody sold their weapons, and they did jiu-jitsu, okay? So it was this swapping. Finally, Dan said to everybody, and I mean all over the world, Europe, everywhere. I mean, we used to travel every weekend, okay? And it was like, you need to put all this together, guys. So then Planet Earth did just what Dan said pretty much. And you would see schools that would say 7 o'clock jiu-jitsu, 8 o'clock stick fighting, 9 o'clock kickboxing, 10 o'clock, okay? What if you had a 9 o'clock jab class and a 10 o'clock cross class and an 11 o'clock hook class? Do you think you could box and put your shit together? Of course not, okay? So the reality is, now we come up to the point to where everybody should be mixing this in one round. You just don't see that. And I don't understand why. Okay? To this day, you can find the best jiu-jitsu in the world on the internet. Great stick fighting from the Philippines. Great Thai boxing from Taiwan. But if you try to punch in, go from stick to knife to ground to mass attack and back up again, like a real fight, you can't find that. You can't find people stick sparring and then knife sparring and then kickboxing and then headbutting, kneeing and elbowing, then going to the ground, then rolling in jiu-jitsu, then pulling out a knife, then another guy comes in, now it's 2-on-1. And these classes are always changing from moment to moment, dynamic and kinetic. Okay? This is what you do not see. Does anybody want to tell me why? Anybody? Poke a thought at why.
Preference.
Pardon me?
Preference.
Well, they're doing it all, though. You know what I mean? They're still doing it at 4 o'clock. Some are doing it at 5. Some are doing it at 6. But they don't mix it. Nobody mixes. I just don't see savat out of paksaw, out of takedown, out of punching, out of bite.
Do you think it's because they think it's too hard?
I would love for you guys to pontificate on this point.
I think it's money. Because some people will pay for one, but they don't want to do the other. But I'll take your money just to do kickboxing.
Hey, if you want to learn all three, pay for all three.
Yeah.
Or some people might say it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. That's what you're just fast.
And there's another one, and I believe everything you guys said is correct. What were you going to say?
The proficiency. I mean, you were blessed that you were at the mothership for all of that. There's not that many places that were doing
you would think someone would go, wow, that wheel has been made for me already. I don't need to reinvent it. I'll do what they did. No, we're going to separate ours. You don't know what you're doing, Dan or Bruce. We're going to do it our way, and I'll have a 4 o'clock class and a 5 o'clock.
I guess most martial arts teach you now. We're the best. What we do is we're the
Ah! What's your name?
Chuck.
Chucky boy. He hit the point. Ego. Ego. Jiu-jitsu. We don't need to stand up and fight. We take you to the ground. This is what I heard from all my teachers. Hoyce, Hoyler, Horian, Hickson. What, the kickbox for what? You kickbox me now. Go ahead, hit me. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And I'd put on the gloves and try to kickbox him, and it wouldn't work, and he'd slam in, pick me up, take me down and rape me. And it was like, all right, well, I see your point, okay? And then you have kickboxers. Even JKD guys, when I brought all the Gracies to the academy, my contemporaries, Chris Kent and all these other guys, good guys, everybody's cool, but they all said the same thing. Gas Magda, okay? Oh, they'll never get us to the ground. We'll G-Tech them before they ever get us to the ground. We don't need to learn that. Right? Okay? But ego is the thing. And if you can get anything out of this seminar, guys, you'll have a stick in your hand in a fight, and the next thing is you'll be on the ground. And the next thing you'll kick up and you'll go, wow, and you'll be running and someone will be chasing you. And then you're breathing, and then you go, where's my friends? And you go back. And there's this dynamic that occurs in a fight. And it's never clean, and it's always ugly. And you're never in where you want to be, and it never happens when you want it to be. Okay? So you get this straight first, and then everything goes. And as long as you're thinking jiu-jitsu is better than knife, or knife, Dan used to say to me he'd have a stick bag. He'd open it up. When he went to Ben Largusa, who liked long range, he would see little sticks in Dan's bag and go, what are you doing with these little sticks, Danny? What is this little shit? Are you training with Leo Gahi again? That little tiny stick? I have the big stick. Then he would go to Leo, and Leo would see these big sticks, and Dan would go, and Leo would look at him and goes, what are you doing with those big, slow, clumsy things? I have my little stick, I go inside and chew you up alive. And then, so all the Filipinos are still just as prejudiced. I thought all of them loved everything. I thought, Dan, according to Dan, Filipinos invented sex, okay? So at the end of the day, I was like this for 13 years, and I thought all Filipinos did. They're not that way. They like stick, or some like knife. We're the only ones on this planet that will take it all if we can use it. I don't want the whole thing, just give me what works. And let me mix it in this thing that we have, okay? All right, so we're gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you train a long time. I want you to change partners a lot, okay? We go from the stick and we work all the way our way into the seat belt, and then we'll change partners. Any questions? Anything else? Yes?
I'm just curious, what would you prefer, a stick or a knife in a fight?
Okay, let me ask you guys a question, and I want all of you to answer this. What would you prefer? I have a pocket knife, it's not on me, but it's that big. It's a really cool little one, and I open it up, and it's that big. Would you prefer that pocket knife, or would you prefer a samurai sword? Which one? Sword. How about you? Sword. Anybody?
It depends.
No?
Depends upon the proximity.
Because everybody that says sword, I take all of you into the bathroom. Okay? And normally a bathroom with a stall. I don't just go in the bathroom. I go in the stall of the bathroom. One of the worst fights I ever had was in a phone booth. One of the worst fights I ever had. This guy said, I'm going to get it. I'm like, fuck you. I'm on the phone. And he's like, he kicked the thing out. He's grabbing my hair. And I'm hitting him with a phone over and over and over again. Then I made my call. But my point is, okay, that you don't know where you're going to fight. And there's no superior weapon. Okay? So here's how it rolls out. If you have the smaller weapon, you want to go in. So if I got a pull cue and you got a half of a pull cue that you broke, you want to come in and you want to keep me out. If I got a pool cue and I'm in a bar, I'll break it in half or grab a bottle. I might as well have a basketball because it's too crowded. But if you want to go outside in the parking lot, I'm grabbing my cue. Okay, I want my distance. So it really depends. So the most important things are you defanging, are you breathing and relaxing? If you have a smaller weapon, are you going in? And if you have a longer weapon, are you keeping out? When do people talk to you about this shit? I've never heard anybody talk to me about this in a seminar. And I give you my word, I've been in so many fights with weapons, more fights with weapons than empty hands, because it's the proclivity of people in bars. You got military, you got bikers, and as soon as F you, and the screaming starts, you hear bottles breaking. And everybody grabs their weapon. Okay? And the most important thing, or what I'm telling you, get your back to the wall when everybody's got a weapon. Half the scars on my face came from the people behind me. Okay? And when you got your weapon, defang. And if you got a bottle and he has a pool cue, you go in. If you have a vice versa. Okay? That's about it. When I walked into Dan and Asano and I saw this weapons chart, and there's 150 weapons. They all look different directions. You ever see this chart? Little miniature weapons. And I go, I gotta learn all that shit? I don't want a weapons fight, Dan. I'm not gonna be walking down the street and some crazy Filipino's gonna jump out of a tree with a stick and dagger, and I'll happen to have mine on me. And Dan goes, you've never been in a serious fight. What's the biggest fight you've ever been? On the basketball courts, of course. Yeah, just wait, kid. And he was right. And when I got into the military thing and I saw how people really fight when they get mad, you know, I challenge you. That's silly, you know. Okay? So, let's do it from the top. Okay, so when we get to the pummel part, okay, instead of an arm drag to go to the back, I want you to throw a punch, okay? So this is our pummel. Boom, boom. Any pummel I have, let me show you where I'm at here. This is my underhook. This is my overhook. If I want to throw a punch, I take this overhook and I kind of just do a little push, and then I punch. Got it? So, you know, we're in here like this, and it's just boom, boom. That's all I want to do. Push him off and throw right. Okay?
You're pushing into the jaw?
Again, please?
You're pushing into the jaw?
Yeah, I guess I did, didn't I? If I hit this thing, it's kind of like a brick wall. His jaw is a little bit smaller than his shoulder. Yeah, I always lift up with his chin a little bit. Yeah, but I've had guys just do this. Boom! Just with the shoulder and push me off. I've had guys just, you know, and then just start swinging wild. Okay? If you're in a clinch and you're like this and you're really struggling, one guy doesn't want to do it, he just pulls out and punches. It's a dynamic, kinetic thing. Okay? So, when you do that, okay, and you pull that out, just pull out and punch with your right. Yeah! Boom! I just want a simple gunting and get back to this. Okay? Boom. He pulls out. Boom, grunting, and keep your head, yeah, there you go. Okay, boys, let's give it a try.
Okay, I'm here. We're in the pummel. He pulls out, he's gonna give me a straight one right down the pipeline, yeah. When I see that coming, I want this. I want to be here. So right when I see this, bam, I just want to zone, bam, here to get this. When I get this and you block, don't let me, good. So the soon as he blocks this, I don't know if he's gonna cross center line to give me 2 eyes. Do you see what he did? Don't, yeah, good. No. Right there. And when I go to hit you, boom, you block it. Okay. Boom, boom. Ooh. See this is right here? Boom, boom. So if this goes here, this sneaks here. But if I'm here, I'm gonna run into here. So I have to zone to here. It's like a football player running this way. And when I run this way, boom, then I go back this way. Okay? Sometimes when I go right, boom, here, or you block this for me, I go, boom, I go low. I'm gonna go high, I'm gonna go low again. So it's either gonna be zag, 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 there we go. Zag, zag. Or whatever he's going, papoom, and then papoom. Okay? So I'm lateral or I'm high-low. It's the praying mantis high-low and it's the collie going lateral. But it's the Wing Chun move we're doing. All right? Let's give it a try. Have to have been in a street fight to know how to street fight? Raise your hand, because it makes sense, right? Raise your hand. How many people think you can teach fighting if you've never been in a street fight? Do you think that's possible? You gotta have one opinion one way or the other.
To an extent.
Either all one way or all the other way.
To an extent, I think.
Huh?
To an extent.
Okay. All right. Let me give it to you. Rigid rod of reality. Okay. You don't ever have to have seen a fight in your life. And if your training is proper, you will be ready to go for a fight. But that is the biggest if on the planet, and that if doesn't happen often. People that have never been in a fight also don't train properly. So they're doubly screwed, okay? When I am missioned to work with a bunch of SEALs, and I'm looking out at a bunch of kids, how old do you think their average age is? This is not the movies now.
22.
Yes, 22. Now, go back when you were 22. Think about when you were 22. Okay? So, you're an immature person and you're doing what you do, but you'll do anything. You're a ballsy kind of person. Okay? These Navy SEALs have never had a real bullet fly over their head. 95 out of 100 SEALs that I teach. Okay? Even now, Team 6 is different. Okay? They're older and more experienced and everything. Okay? But when I'm looking out at a bunch of kids that have never had bullets flying over their head for real, yet we're about to send them to war, what is that thing that makes that happen? How do you turn a person into a real fighter if they've never been into a fight? A real warrior if they've never been in a war? And it just goes back, and it's a simple thing. It goes back to the training. Okay? If your training is realistic, if you're using real bullets, if you know that if you're crawling and if you pop your head up, you're dead, if you intrinsically know that, it's not the same as knowing, it's just fake rounds. Okay? So everything in the, I can speak Team 6, all of them, but any of the SEAL teams is real functional training. They are the epitome of training their soldiers, okay? Emotionally training, physically training. Imagine being stuck in the mountains and you're in a cave and there's 22 of your best friends you've lived with, eaten with, slept with, and fought with, okay? One of them's got a bullet in his knee. And the bad guys, okay, the Taliban, are within a mile. And this guy is screaming in agony. Do you understand what you have to do? Do you understand do you choke him out? It's your best friend. You choke him out to keep him quiet, because if they're screaming in agony in the middle of the night, everybody gets not just killed, tortured beyond anything you could imagine. These are the emotional questions that these soldiers have to deal with at age 22. Okay? So, a lot of what I did with them was really past the physical. Everybody thinks, oh, he taught the rat, he taught that. What we did was emotional stuff. Stress inoculation. Teaching them how to make decisions like that. And how to live with those kind of decisions. Okay? You have a choice of saving 18 people and killing your best friend. Can you imagine such a choice? This is military. It's just not, it's not like anything that you can imagine. 4 of my very best friends that I trained with for the first year and a half, I go there a year and a half later, or a year and a half in, and I go there. And I go, where's Bob? And Bob, where'd they been? And they go, oh, well, didn't you hear what happened? They were supposed to go fly, and they practiced blowing up Manuel Noriega's plane, and I watched them do it. They'd have a law rocket, and they'd blow up this fake plane, and they had this whole thing, and they practiced, and they practiced, and they practiced for months. Now when they're gonna make the mission, 2 of my soldiers are on the way, and some big admiral says, no, we're gonna change the mission, and you're not gonna blow up the plane. You're gonna go under it and immobilize it. Can you imagine making that decision as some dude sitting behind a desk for soldiers? And I watched these kids train. So 2 of my boys went under there and they tried to immobilize it and they got crossfire. They're both down. 2 of my other boys runs in to save them. Now, they have, one guy's got one guy on one shoulder, one on the other, and they're traversing along and they got wiped out. 4 kids killed because of the decision of an admiral to change the mission midstream. I could give you guys hundreds of stories like this, okay? It's not what you think. And the emotional strength that you have to pull this off is the toughest part, okay? You don't put a switch on a gun to make it a 3-shot burst. No, you kill that problem emotionally so they don't freeze on the trigger. You don't handle it mechanically, you handle it emotionally because it's going to present itself in other facets, okay? So if there's anything I can tell you guys, it's winning a fight and surviving a fight is all about emotions. And you might go into this thing angry because somebody flipped you off or grabbed your wife's rear or something. And then all of a sudden you're getting this terrible beating and you're emotionally changed. Or you think you're doing well in this fight and you're on top and then he oopas, now you're on the bottom. And you're tired and you're in the deep end. And I can give you myriad examples of the deep end of a fight. So if we don't control the emotions, we can't make this thing work, okay? So just remember that. There's a book I'd like you to read called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, okay? I really highly recommend that you read that book. And we're gonna get into emotional training when we talk about the functional aspect of what I'm gonna be doing for the next 2.5 years. And we're gonna talk about all that tomorrow. Any final questions before we have people come demo? Anything about anything? Think about it. Yeah.
What motivates you have for training killer instinct and learning how to control it in and out and learning how to apply it? I find that training.
What we're doing is that there's no magic. Think of killer instinct like psychotherapy. You don't go,
you're cured. No more mad, sad, glad. Your emotions are fine. Go away. Okay? There's no magic buttons or pills. Psychotherapy takes years and years, okay, to get into what's going on. Okay? Killer instinct is similar. Okay? You cannot have killer instinct and fear at the same time. They cannot coexist. It's like acid and alkaline. They're going to neutralize each other. Okay? So before you have killer instinct, you have to eliminate fear. And then before you eliminate fear, you have to differentiate between real fear and projected fear. There's so much to talk about. I wish I had more time. But real fear is if I'm walking down the street and this Doberman chases me, and I'm like, holy shit, and I jump up in a tree, and he's rah, 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 and he's trying to kill me. Okay? Projected fear is 2 weeks later, you come by and you see me still up in the same tree. Boo! What the hell are you doing up there? Another Doberman might come along. I can't walk no more down the street because someday that Doberman might come. It's something that's going to happen in the future that hasn't happened now. It's projected. It's the infamous what if. And underneath that bracket of what if is so many things. So when we eliminate fear, we have to learn to differentiate between projected fear. I'm worried about my child, I'm worried about my mom, I'm worried about my son, I'm worried about me, I'm worried about this. And the panoply of things that we're worried about is just crazy, okay? And they're all projected. None of it has happened yet, okay? That is manifestly, empirically shitty for you. You can't do that. You can't worry about stuff that's gonna come before it happens. That's a whole way of dealing with that. But that's not what I'm talking about. So put that one off to the side. I'm referring to real fear at the moment, okay? And in order to comply with real fear at the moment and breathe into it, you have to have it 100 times in a row. You have to be training and all of a sudden there's an adrenaline rush. You're tackled, guns are in the air, a knife is going, and you're like, and you feel that feeling of, okay? And then you have to breathe into it. While your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland are secreting adrenaline through your whole body, your dopamine and norepinephrine and serotonin are cut down to nothing, and you're just jacked full of it, and there's just abject fear, okay? So here's what happens. You go, and then you breathe into it, and your legs are a little like this, and you learn. And the first time you learn to spar while you're in fear, it's terrible. It's terrible. And the next time it's a little easier, and the next time. And after the 50th time of training, not when you're happy, hey bro, how you doing, high five. Put up, straighten out the black belt and spar. It's not high five, bro, in the military. So every encounter has to be where the adrenaline is cooking, okay? So we get you under that neurological state of mind. This is called stress inoculation, and we allow you to breathe into it and calm yourself down. If you do that 10 times in a row, you'll be decent at it. If you do it 100 times in a row, you'll be much better at it. If you do that 1,000 times in a row, where you get yourself nervous and you calm your own self down, you'll be a master at it. That's all it's about, okay? Sorry about the long answer. I literally could go on for 8 hours for a month and never repeat myself. It's something that's real important. But killer instinct, okay? Now let me give you the good news of killer instinct. That's how a military guy does it. If he's going to fly in a plane, take a Harrier jet, drop out, do the topography of something, shoot, kill, okay, and he's waiting for this to happen, and he's breathing into it, and he's not projecting, I'm going to get killed, and he's staying present in the moment, okay? But killer instinct is much simpler than that. If you just swear to God right now, or whoever you want to swear to, I will never fight unless it's for self-defense, unless somebody's going to hurt me or my family. I will never fight over this. I will never fight over this. I will never fight over challenges. I will never fight over car wrecks. I will never fight. But if you fuck with my family or me, or I'm going to be worried about my life, especially my family, that paternal, maternal thing comes out, and we win fights from love. We don't win fights from killer instinct. And the person, the animal with the greatest killer instinct is a mother protecting their cubs or their children. So when you're defending your family, you don't gotta worry about training or nothing. It's gonna come natural. And if you're a natural fighter, I pity that guy. Okay, you follow what I mean? So that's a real easy way to do it. If you don't want to do that, if you're like, hey brother, I'm Italian and you flip me off, I'm gonna bitch slap your ass. Okay, I'm not fighting with you. That's who you are as a person. But you gotta deal with those consequences. And if you fight for every stupid reason, and then the one time you gotta fight to save your life, you're not gonna be the same killer as a guy like Larry Hartzell will be driving down the street. Somebody will flip him off and he'll smile and drive down. We'll be in a bar. Some guys will pick a fight with us. Let's just go with Paul, you know. And this guy could eat your face like Hannibal Lecter and not even know it, okay? Larry was the greatest fighter we've ever had and ever will. So, that's my killer instinct answer. Any other questions? Yes?
You talked about earlier contemporary JKD guys, traditional versus kind of comparing them to the Krav Maga. Some you were saying earlier. How much would you say would be sparring intensive, sparring training versus what would the percentage be of drilling and flowing and scenario training versus actual sparring? Like what would you say a balance would be? Would it be a 50-50 balance or 60-40 balance that you would think? And then to the contemporary guys versus the traditional guys, would you like extend an olive branch to them and say, hey, we need to come together? Like we ever ran into them in another school, another seminar. Hey, yeah, come train with us, or because of the opposing sides that they lay on. You know what I'm talking about?
Of course.
What do you think?
I think it's a great idea, and I think I've always wanted to do that. See, I'm a loyal dog, a simple-minded, loyal dog, okay? And if you're in Jeet Kune Do, you're my cousin. You can't be my enemy in my art. That's just not how my simple mind works. If you're original and you don't agree with my shit, so what? We disagree with each other. Any original in the world, any concepts guy in the world calls me up and says, we got a problem. Some school, Tie My Shoe, is coming over here to fight us. We're gonna back you up. I don't care who you are. If you're in my, that's just work. It's just how I am. But a lot of people don't have that attitude. No matter what, no matter how much you go like this, it just doesn't work. Do you ever chase this girl and you chase her and you chase her, and every time she blows you off, and she blows you off, and then you one day go, I'm done chasing you. You know what I mean? So I'd love to do that, but and I would do it if I could, and I would like to try it again. Maybe I've tried it in the past. You know, yeah, it's a very mature thing to say and do.
And as far as the sparring training versus the drilling and flowing and scenario training, what would you say?
10%. I mean, if you already know how to spar decently, if you've been sparring most of the time, Dan and I didn't spar. Okay, we trained. We'd be doing chi sao and huba and poking and kicking and flipping and all that, but it was always drills. Okay, and then it'd be like, okay, give me 20 minutes of chi sao, Dan, and we'd spar, or 20 minutes of kickboxing. But most of the time we would do drills together because he wanted to get my attributes up so I could pull off the simple shit. Good question. Anybody else? Yes?
As someone with zero martial arts experience, what should my mindset be? How do I calm my ego down?
And when you say your ego, give me an example.
I guess I want to be very, very good at this, but you gotta, I guess, be taught. You don't just get there immediately. So like, if I try to just go and be my best, I'm gonna get killed or something like that. I guess I don't really know how to word it.
Okay. I think that, what was your first question?
Zero martial arts.
Okay, yeah, right, yeah. I think that you find someone that you like as a human being first to teach you. That's the most important thing, okay? You gotta connect with this person. If you don't like the person that's teaching you, it's hard to, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not dislike him as a human being, but when I was training Taekwondo, I just never felt loved. They screamed at me, oh, Boeing, will you do that? Boeing! And it was like always screaming at me, and it was like this. And I grew up in a black town with black people. And I wanted to find out as a child what the best martial art were. So I said, what? I'll just go to a tournament. And I went to a tournament, and all the brothers were winning. It wasn't because they were a different style, they were just more athletic in those days. White guys were jumping up like, dude, you know, guys are down like this. I'm like, oh, that's a no-brainer. So I went to Black Karate Federation. I had fun. 4 years before that, I got my black belt in Taekwondo. I'd walk in nervous, get screamed at. I don't know if that helps. But you gotta have fun. If you're not having fun, what's the point? Carry a gun. We're spending all this time learning how to fight. What, for that one pie-in-the-sky fight? Someday, I'm gonna get in a fight, and I've only been training 30 years, 4 hours a day, spent $50,000. No, we're learning martial art for all the times we don't fight. So you can walk down the street with impunity and look somebody in the eye and tell them what your heart feels without worrying about anything. Everybody's so full of what? Does anger exist out there? Do you see it with everybody? Do you know why? You know why there's so much anger out there? Because the flip side to anger is fear. And fear came before anger. And any prolonged pain is going to create anger. And prolonged fear is always anger. So when you get somebody who has to scream louder than you in the argument, cuss more than you in the fight, project more like the blowfish, that's fear coming out. Every fighter I've ever known doesn't do any of that shit. If you walk up to Hickson, I've seen this, slap him in the face, he'll go, take off the shirt, take a little sip. Okay? I could give you an example about Blair Hartzell, same thing. Every fighter I've ever known. Okay? Hotheads aren't fighters. Good questions. Anybody else? Okie dokie, let's do our demos now, and then we will call it a day. Let's start with you guys. Little music, por favor. Pedro? Little music, por favor. Ah, better looking than Pedro. Okie doke, ready? Now, when they're done, give them a good hand. Okay, everybody gets a good hand. I don't mean a backhand now. All right. Up and go.
No worries. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Perry.
And begin. Knife. And break. Beautiful job, boy. The knife stuff we're doing. We would all do this in a fight, right? Yeah? We would do this against a knife? No. You would defang, okay? But once that knife is down, you're not gonna dodge it and junk it and just kind of run in and pops out. Remember, this is just for training. Okay, next two. Ready, set, and go. Drop the stick, double knife. Good. That's it. Keep going. Looking good. Pummel. Good. Arm drag. Up. Keep them there. Keep them there. Do it again. Pummel. Don't counter that. Okay. Now get them there. And now counter. Fight. Fight. Go to the body. Slap. Fabulous. Good job, boys. Next two. Who has a gun? Did you guys go? Okie dokie. Ready, set, go. Double knife. Good. Good timing on that. Good. Guys, in the end, hang out and watch. Good. A little slower. Pummel. Arm drag. Oh, good. And fight and going shot. Boom. Fabulous. Good job, girls. Two good. Ready, set. Yeah, here we go. Ready and go. for Serbia. One for the Croatians. We're next to you. Go. Don't worry about it. You just get out there and have fun. Good. Feet front. Feet it. Good. That's okay. Go on and keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. Looking good. Drop it. Drop it. Now go to the hug. Okay? There you go. Go in. Keep looking good. Looking good. Go to the seatbelt. Put it behind. Slap his groin. Great. Good job. Okay, ready? Hey guys, come on in the back and take them out. There you go. Drop it, drop it. Drop the knife. Yes, and break. Good job. Anybody else? Want to go? Ready, set, go. Drop it, drop the knife. One side down. You drill, go. You drill. You drill. That's it. Looking good. Good. Now you feed. Go back. Right on, put the seatbelt in, bite, grab the groin, boom, great, good job. Okay folks, let me get everybody to line up right here, going this direction.
Weapons?
Nope. Just big line right here, going that way. I want you to blast from there to here only. When you get to here, stop, turn around, and go back that way. I'll tell you. So I'll say go, and then you line up here and turn around and go back that way. All right, ready, set? And let me hear it. Go! Stop, stop. Now go the other way. Ready? Go! Turn. Go. Turn. 4. Go. Turn. 5. Let's see a race. Who's quicker? Ready? 6. Ready? 7. Ready? 8. Ready? 9. Ready? 10. Stop. Now turn and look at me. 10 jump squats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn up the music for me, Pedro. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. Okay. Now. You said up or down? Off. Off. Okay. I really heard wrong. Now, listen up. This is how you're going to feel in fight. Probably worse. If you train and you don't feel this way, you're not working the killer instinct. If you train, hey bro, y'all warm up. Turn up the AC, please. Yeah. Incense burning? Yeah. Okay, high five. That's cool, I do that. Okay? But if you're working your killer instinct, you gotta just kill yourself. And when you feel like you're gonna, Muhammad Ali said, you're gonna run until you think you're gonna throw up. And then you run more until you've actually thrown up. And then you're halfway there. Okay? So, and then if you can fight under these conditions, then your art works. If you cannot fight under these conditions. So it's not whose art is better. Okay? Let's say art A is decent. Art B is better than art A. And so art C is even better than arts B and C. But let's say the people, and all of us are genetically the same. But let's say these guys up here, okay, that are supposed to be the best, they don't work their endurance. They don't work their calming down in a fight. They don't work that, okay? And let's say these dudes way down here do. I put my money on them. When I listen to the fancy JKD concepts guys, you know, at our school in California, and they're all like, yeah, and they tease karate people, Dan gets a sad look on his face, okay? There are 70-year-old masters with one reverse punch that'll stick that reverse punch up the kula of every Jeet Kune Do concepts person out there. There are these guys that have that thing, okay? And you don't mess with that thing because your art is better or fancier or whatever, okay? You come to not argue about whose art is better, and you look at the human being and you respect them for who they are and what they are. And then you ask yourself, well, it goes on, it gets deep. All right, did you have fun today?
Yes,
I had
sir.
fun. You guys are fun crew.
Great fun.
Thank you.